All right, what's up, guys? Today we're going to go over some videos from nice. We're going to go over some videos from popular culture, seduction scenes from TV, from movies that might be exaggerated. They might be a little bit exaggerated, but you can learn a lot from these exaggerated scenes about human psychology, especially from the perspective of someone who knows a lot about pickup. So, with that said, let's dive into the first scene. Share screen, window, okay, tab. Just do the window just in case. All right. This video is going to show you how to turn awkwardness into seductiveness. It's a very interesting scene where Michael Scott, that's how I know him, where Michael Scott, who's a 40-year-old virgin, goes up to a very beautiful woman. And being a virgin, he's very awkward, but he's able to turn that awkwardness into something very powerful. And that's something a lot of guys can learn and relate to because most men haven't approached tons of women and asked them out. They're not going on dates all the time. So it is going to be awkward the first times that you're approaching a girl. But if you learn how to transmute that awkwardness into something effective, it will actually work for you rather than against you. So even though this is a scene from a movie and it's kind of exaggerated, it's not a real life situation exactly, it's still going to be very helpful to pay attention to what Steve Carell does here. I said that sentence a little weird, but whatever. And as someone who's approached thousands of women and someone who used to be extremely awkward, I mean, I literally would shake talking to girls at first. I couldn't approach a girl for 2 weeks the first times that I tried to go out and do approaches. 2 weeks of not being able to do a single approach. So it doesn't come naturally to me. And I know what he feels like. I know his situation, but I didn't know how to use it to my advantage the way that Steve Carell does. So he's moving very slowly and using silence. He's not rushing. This is something that guys do a lot, especially when they're nervous. Everything becomes rushed. They see the girl and they start talking before she even notices them. That's one of the most common mistakes I see on my in-person boot camps where a client will say, "Hey, what's up?" And the girl's like, "What?" Instead, you want to get her attention with your eye contact, with your physicality before you start talking. So that's a very common mistake. And going in slow, it kind of indicates this power, this self-confidence. And even though he's going to come across as nervous when he starts talking, his body language is very good.
Can I help you?
I don't know. Can you?
Are you looking for something?
Is there something I should be looking for?
Already, it is awkward. What he's saying is a very unusual thing to say. But first of all, it's intriguing because it's so unusual. It's kind of throwing her for a loop. She doesn't really know what's happening. So basically, her guard is being let down. Now, you don't want to be so weird that you make them scared, that you make a girl uncomfortable, that you make a girl genuinely uncomfortable. But being different is very powerful because girls get hit on two ways very commonly, either super direct and super sexual to the point where it's creepy, or they get hit on where the guy is pretending that he's not hitting on her. He's pretending to be a friend and they can feel something's off, that his intention and what he's saying are off. And what he's doing puts him in a different category. She doesn't know what he is or what he wants, but she knows he's different. And the questions he's asking, although odd, they have this very strong sexual connotation without being so overt that she can really accuse him of, like, catcalling him or something. He's not doing that, but he's making it sexual with insinuation, with the implied meaning of what he's saying.
Oh, we have a lot of books, so maybe it depends on what you like.
What do you like?
We have a great section of do it yourself.
Do you like to do it yourself?
Sometimes.
So what he's doing is basically a string of that's what she says. And most conversations, you don't have a writer who's going to just tee them up for you the way they're being teed up for Michael Scott here. But that is a very useful technique. It's one of the best ways to make things sexual is with something that isn't literally about sex, but connotating it, but implying it in a kind of funny way where she's not sure whether you're joking or whether you're actually talking about sex. That creates sexual tension because it's that dynamic of will they, won't they? Is this friendly? Is this sexual? It creates a friction between two possibilities, and that's one of the ways that you can build sexual tension.
Mood strikes.
How is the mood striking you now?
Okay, so that laugh was kind of creepy and weird. That wasn't good. But everything else up to that point, although it's a little bit socially strange, there's a lot of sexual tension. He's very confident in his, well, he's not exactly confident. He's coming across as grounded, even though he's nervous, because he's letting the silence hang and he's holding very strong eye contact and he's not being fidgety, right? He's not moving a lot. This is another thing that my clients often do.
What's your name?
What's your name?
I'm Beth.
Andy.
Andy. Don't tell me, okay, Andy?
Unless you want to be told on. Beth.
That was a good line. That was a very good line. That's basically a very light BDSM implication, right? If you like to be told on, you like to be punished, you've been a bad girl. Any way that you can apply those things does create the, what do you call it? The polarity between dominance and submission. And sexually, the vast majority, probably about 90% of women are sexually submissive. So when you do things that imply you're going to be dominant, it's going to create that polarity. It's kind of like magnets, right? They just have an attraction to each other. So he's framing her basically as being a brat, which is a BDSM term. And he's the dom, right? He's being dominant by what he's saying. So that's actually a very good line. And overall, the laugh was very weird. He's talking a little bit strangely, but it's still very intriguing. And his overall aura, even though he has a nervousness about him, it's a nervousness that also has sexual intent behind it, right? It's not a nervousness where he's like self-defeating. He's projecting that nervousness. He's projecting it in the right direction. So overall, this is actually a very good pickup. And there is a high chance that this would work. The only part that's really unrealistic is that girls aren't going to ask you a set of questions that give you such perfect opportunities to make sexual innuendos. And you're not going to have the cleverness of a team of writers that have infinite time to come up with responses. So you can't expect to always be that witty. But overall, this is a very good pickup.
Wow, that totally worked. I literally said nothing. She found me best.
I would have thought you were doing that for years.
Oh, should I pass her out?
No, that's the key. Wait for it to grow.
Wrong. Very wrong. He should have definitely asked her out, unless it's a situation where he runs into her regularly, right? Like they work together, something along those lines. Then you can, just let it hang, because you're going to see her again and get more opportunities and let her kind of chase you. But in this situation, as far as I remember the movie, he doesn't work with her. He's not going to be seeing her on a regular basis. So if you have a moment with a woman and you don't ask for her number, you don't ask her on a date, you're probably never going to see her again. probably never going to see her again. So don't miss that opportunity, because yes, it is more mysterious to let her chase you, but you can't chase you if you never see her again. So that was terrible advice. Funny enough, the guy giving the advice, Seth Rogen, kind of ironically, if you think about it, but Seth Rogen giving him advice, he's actually worse at picking up women than the 40-year-old virgin. And then you fuck the plant. Yeah, so that's very interesting advice. Overall, that was a really good scene, and I think it's inspirational because it shows that you don't have to be 10 out of 10 charisma and confidence, and you don't have to be a James Bond archetype to create sexual tension, because he's not a James Bond archetype, but you could feel the sexual energy in that interaction. Partly it's because they're actors, but we'll go into what you can actually use that yourself. You can use the acting techniques that he used yourself, but we'll talk about that in a minute. Partly it's because they're actors, but also it's because he's framing everything as sexual by asking the right questions, by making things into a playful double entendre. And if you can learn to do that, that's very helpful. There are exercises that I actually go over on my in-person boot camps that teach you how to make things sexual whenever you want to, that teach you how to make that an automatic habit. But the other aspect that's very useful of this is, the other thing that you should learn from this is the power of stillness, letting the pause hang, letting the girl do some of the talking, not being rushed. That he seems very measured and controlled in his rate of speaking, in the way he's holding himself, even though he's nervous. And that combination of nervous energy, but controlling it, has a lot of power. And you can learn to direct that power in a way that's helpful. If you direct it towards yourself, it becomes debilitating. If you direct it to yourself, you start thinking, oh no, I'm not good enough, I'm doing this, blah, blah, blah. She's not going to like me. But if you direct it towards her, she's really attractive, she's really sexy, I want to talk to her, you're thinking that in an almost manic way, that can be very powerful. And that's what he's doing here. I also think this is a good example of method acting, which basically is where you go back to memories of your own life when you experience a certain emotion that fits the scene. There's more to it, but this is the most important technique of method acting, is being able to go back into a time when you felt, in this case, aroused, you felt sexual energy, and then being able to bring that into the current moment. You're thinking of something that happened in the past, and then you bring that into the current moment, and you can create whatever emotion you want to create. And it becomes completely genuine. This is what many of the best actors do. It's what Heath Ledger did in The Dark Knight Rises, for example. And so this is a great example of the power of being able to control your emotions. If you can get yourself to feel desire, then that will spread to the woman you're talking to. And if she's even slightly open to the idea of something happening with you, that tension is going to build very quickly. Okay, not an important message. All right. I have an entire chapter. I have an entire video in my online course, God Mode, that will teach you how to create sexual energy, how to get into that sexual state, basically using a technique very similar to method acting, but adapted for pickup. And it's something that is very subtle because it allows you to create sexual tension without doing anything that could possibly be interpreted as creepy or pushy. It just creates a vibe that you put off that has a magnetic attractiveness to it. And so you can learn more about that by clicking the link below. But if you enjoyed this video, make sure to subscribe to my channel and hit the bell button. Let me know in the comment section below what you want me to do a breakdown of next. So if it's working, it is working. Okay. Let's look at Boomhauer teaches Bobby how to pick up girls.
Knows about saving money. Everything I'm wearing, I've had since.
And by the way, guys watching, can you confirm that the audio is working?
Auto insurance that flexes with you. Fit to fit. That's what we're made for.
Oh, airplane mode. Whoopsie.
Ain't no word.
All right, so is the audio working? Let me know. And if no one does, I guess I'll just hope it is.
Ain't no worries, little B. We're gonna get you back on track. You don't be talking about
So, do you hear the audio on the second screen?
no sick day, no strong enough for man, but that was made for woman, you know.
There really is a secret to getting women?
It's working. Okay. Glad to hear it. This is a legendary scene. So, this might be shocking, but the cartoon King of the Hill actually has an episode that teaches one of the most profound lessons about picking up women that you could ever learn. And I know this is the last place you think you'd get useful information about how to meet women, but this scene is actually very fascinating and very honest in a way that kind of threw me through, that kind of shocked me. But I want to show you this because it can teach you one of the most essential things that you can do to get more women in your life that 98% of modern men are not doing.
Please,
Back on track. You don't be talking about no sick day, no strong enough for man, but that was made for woman, you know.
there really is a secret to getting women? Please, I need to know. I won't tell anyone. I swear. I swear.
Hey, man, there ain't no joke about here, man. They don't talk about it. You go take me no solemn oath, man. Talk about it. Little B.
I, Bobby Hill,
And I'm going cross my dang old heart, talk about it. Take leave to you.
What?
do solemnly swear.
We should have given Bobby a pager. He might have become a drug dealer, but at least we would always know where he is.
Yeah, man, you just talk about an old dang old fishing magician, man. Talk about a dang old ta-da.
What are we doing at Shelley's? I thought you were going to show me your lady secrets.
Hey, man, you just watch old B-Dog and you don't learn, man.
A designer shoe sale is definitely not the worst place that you could find attractive women. So not a bad start.
Lady, one don't talk about it, maybe don't call you sometime.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Hey there, pretty lady, I'm about to talk about it, but I'll give you a call sometime, man.
Oh, please.
Hey, baby, you know, talking about look good on your feet. You know, look better on my.
Okay, so I mean, it's a cartoon. I can't take it too seriously, but here he makes a mistake that is very common. I see it on my boot camps all the time. And he's approaching this girl from behind. So he's talking to her while he's behind her. And you have to understand women's perspective, right? When it comes to seduction, one of the most important things is to be aware of what she's feeling, what she's thinking, what her concerns and desires are at all times. To not just be focused on yourself. This is what most men are missing. And that also applies to sex, as many women sadly are aware. But when you come at a woman, when you approach a woman from behind, think about how much larger you are as a man than the vast majority of women, especially the ones you're probably going to approach. But he's stronger and larger and is going to register as a potential threat. So you come within a couple feet of a girl from behind her, she's going to freak out. You hear a deep voice out of nowhere going, you're going to freak out. Right? It's going to make you nervous. And if you're already feeling nervous, it's going to be hard to turn around an already awkward interaction into something that's going to go anywhere.
Hey, baby, you know, talking about look good on your feet. You know, look better on my bed. I'm talking about giving them them digits, man.
Why don't you go home and take a nap?
Okay, that was an awful pickup line. They look good on your feet, but they look better on my bed. That will work maybe 1 out of 40 times, something like that. It can work occasionally because anything's going to work occasionally, but it is very blunt in a cheesy way. And he hasn't even said hello or gotten her name, and it's in the day, right? Being more sexual, more direct tends to have a better chance at working in a nightclub or bar environment because people are in the kind of state where they're more open to that kind of thing. But in the day, that's almost never going to work.
Another cologne bath. You just got blown off 3 times.
So,
Exactly.
Ow, it doesn't fit.
yeah, man, maybe I don't show you something on size boom.
Oh, you don't work here. Get away from my feet.
Hey, that's Boomhauer's car. Yep. He always takes 2 spots.
Yeah, man, check it out, man. I went into my dang old Palm Pilot.
But you got shot down by 23 women before you got that phone number.
Ain't no thing.
So this is your big secret? You just ask every woman you see until one of them finally says yes?
Shut, man, you gonna go tell my secret, man?
You know what, Mr. Boomhauer? I'm pretty sure this is not the way I'm gonna find real love.
What you talking about, dang old love?
Stop.
So, what's the lesson there? The lesson is if you play the numbers game, you're eventually going to succeed. Was Boomhauer's approach good? No, it was creepy. He was doing a lot of very weird things. It was very uncalibrated. It was not good. But even a bad approach, if you do it enough times, will eventually work. Even a physically unattractive guy who's poor, who says things that are awkward, if he shoots his shot enough times, and I mean actually asking girls for their numbers, asking them on dates, not just approaching and then like saying bye, eventually you're going to meet a girl who just for whatever reason, she likes your energy, she's in the right mood, maybe she's ovulating and therefore she's more turned on. You never know. Right? She just broke up with her boyfriend and you're like the opposite type of her ex-boyfriend and she knows that hooking up with you would make her ex-boyfriend mad. Doesn't really matter. Some women are going to like you if you ask enough of them out. And the main reason that modern men are not getting any dates, and statistically more men are going without sex in America than in the last 60 years, since something like the 60s. So that would actually be, that'd be 60 years. So men have been having less sex in the 2010s than the 60s. Why is that? Well, social media. Tinder, though. The main reason I'd say is actually online dating. Because what does online dating do? You put up some shitty pictures, you don't get any matches, you feel undesirable, and you give up. And whenever you feel like, oh, I want to meet a girl, you don't have to actually go out into the real world. You can role play, you can pretend you're meeting girls on Tinder. You can make yourself feel like you're taking action, even though you're not really doing anything productive. And the majority of men, they have such a comfortable option of staying at home, socializing on social media, on video games, and on Tinder, that they avoid real socialization because it creates anxiety. It creates this fear of rejection. You will get rejected if you go out and approach real women. But if you shoot your shot enough times, you will eventually have successes. And most people watching this, the reason they're not getting laid, they think it's because they're not good looking enough, et cetera, et cetera. But you've never had a single day where you did as many approaches as Boomhauer did in this one video. You've never done that. You've never really tried. And so that's what I want you to be aware of. Yes, his method is not the best. You should have a higher success rate than 1 out of 23. But even if your game sucks and you are unattractive, you will get some successes. And what's the alternative? Matching with twos on Tinder? Unless you have very good photos, Tinder's not going to be better. So why are you not taking action? Do you really not care about sex, intimacy, eventually having a relationship? Are you really going to focus on other things and then hope magically one day when you're in good shape and you're making 7 figures? Guess what? A lot of my clients who take boot camps are making 7 figures. They already made it financially. Some are even personal trainers. I've had more than one, and they're still not getting laid. Why is that? Because we think, oh, well, we solve some other problem and then dating will fix itself. But what's really happening is your ego and your emotions don't want to face the fear of rejection. And so they look for an easy way out to go another path. Even if that means you go years without getting any dates or having any success with women, that's okay, because one day it'll be easy when I have a Lambo, when I have the right job, when I have status, when I have, a six-pack. But that doesn't work. It rarely does. Unless you truly become famous, that's not likely to work. So, yes, this is a silly cartoon. And yes, Boomhauer's game is not very good, but it actually teaches a very profound lesson. And if you're someone who's been stuck in the mentality of watching videos about game, liking the idea that I should get more women in my life, I should be getting dates, but you haven't taken action, the easiest way to break through that resistance, that anxiety, the excuses, is to take a boot camp, is to meet me in person and let me guide you through the process of going out and approaching women. It is very easy to overcome approach anxiety when you have someone taking you through the process in person. When you have the leverage of having made an investment and having traveled and meeting this coach, it's going to be very hard to continue making excuses and to finally have that breakthrough. And maybe you will be like Boomhauer and it'll take 23 approaches to get a number. But when you do that, you're going to have an amazing feeling like a monkey's off your back. In fact, it wasn't the first time I got laid. Actually, that's not true. The first time I got laid did feel amazing. But the best feeling I got from pickup, other than losing my virginity, which that was awesome, but other than losing my virginity, was the first time I did an approach, was when I broke through that resistance and did an approach. I was on cloud nine for several days. And that's something that I want to make sure. Maybe you've done some approaches. Maybe you've done a few here and there, but you've never gone on a date from cold approach, or you've never gotten laid from cold approach, or maybe you've gotten laid, but it wasn't with a girl you found particularly attractive. It wasn't the kind of girl you really want to be dating. Well, once you have that experience, you're going to have a completely different mentality and mindset about game. It's not going to feel like this arduous thing that you have to, force yourself to go through. It's going to be fun and exciting, and it's much more rewarding than using Tinder or just playing video games all day, every day. Actually going out, going on adventures, meeting people, embracing the chaos, having rejections, having crazy experiences like a random threesome you never experienced, or maybe sleeping with a well-known model that you couldn't talk about because they're a public figure, but maybe that happened recently for someone. Things like that make getting over that initial anxiety, that initial resistance, worth it 10 times over. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to subscribe to my channel and hit the bell button, because if you don't hit the bell button, you will not be notified when I release a new video. And if you're interested in getting in-person coaching with me, click the link below. I have very limited spots over the next 3 months. And once they're gone, I'm not going to be doing in-person coaching for a few months after that. So there's going to be a period where I'm not doing it at all. And you don't want to put this off for 6 months, 9 months. The sooner you take action, the better. All right. What's up, Diego? All right, let's see. I might do one more. My plan is actually, I'm going to be doing 3 videos per day. And I'm going to record them here, and then I'm going to repost them on the main channel after. But by being here, you get the chance to ask me questions, interact with me, give me ideas, and all that kind of stuff. So being on this stream, this is before they go on the actual channel, all edited and, stuff like that. Plus, it gets me to, I've never liked being on camera. I've always found it very awkward talking to a lens that doesn't give you social feedback. And by doing this, doing several videos worth of lives a day, it's going to get my, camera presence, my ability to just entertain, to be engaging, to be much better. And then that will grow the channel much more quickly, because my goal in my head right now is to, in this next month, so in August, to get more views than Playing with Fire. And it's nothing against him. He's a great guy, and he's done a great job with his channel. And that's why my goal is to get above him on views. It's going to be difficult, so I'm going to have to post a lot more content than he does. And I'm going to be doing a lot of these streams, and I'm also going to be doing a lot of infield. So a lot of new hidden camera infield. Half of it is going to be stuff that's more entertaining, like, trying someone else's advice to mock it, to show how bad the advice is. I've got one about Alpha M coming soon. And the other half is going to be just genuine, pickup videos. So I'm going to do a little bit of both. I might have to make a separate channel for the two. But I'm going to be doing both of those in the short term. And if you guys have any ideas, anyone who's watching, let me know. But that's generally the direction I'm going to be taking my channel in. So I'm going to probably wrap up in a couple minutes. I got to work on a book. I'm writing a book actually for a very successful multimillionaire. I'm basically putting his advice into book form. And it's a really cool opportunity for someone I admire a lot. But, I'm going to finish that within a few weeks. So I'm working on the final drafts. But if you guys don't have any questions before I head out, then I guess I'll wrap up and I'll see you guys tomorrow. I'm either going to do one, maybe even 2 streams every day. And I'm going to do 3 different topics, 3 different videos. So if you have anything from like pop culture or infield footage of other coaches that you want me to react to, you want me to break down, I'd like to do that because, that stuff, basically, that's the most engaging for people on YouTube as opposed to just talking to the camera about some topic, which I'll do that too. But realistically, you're much more likely to get a large reach, to get more people watching a video if it's about something that's already being searched. So something like a movie, a TV show, or a popular YouTuber who has prank videos. I can react to prank videos, any of those kinds of things. So let me know in the comments section if you have any ideas. But other than that, thanks for watching.